everyone. My name is Daniel Crane, and I am the Program Director for the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship. And we are back with another Global Industry Spotlight. Every Thursday, we talk to different organizations, entrepreneurs, and people who are building cool things in the creative industries. If you go to our website at cceglobal.org, click on events, you can see some of the work that we're doing. We aggregate workshops. We really try to provide and work on, resources for the industry to help, businesses grow and to help entrepreneurs learn new things. But let's get to it. So I'm really excited about our guest today. Streo.live is a live streaming technology and website that you basically artists live stream and they archive it, and it's for global audiences. I met Pri at 2112. She's a 2112 member. Had a great meeting to learn about their company, and we'll kind of bring her in and talk about what they're doing. Hi, Pri. How are you?
Hey, Daniel. I'm good. How are you? Thank you
I'm
for
good. I
having me.
had an espresso, so I'm feeling very energetic. So I have to kind of get into the vibe of asking questions. But
Oh, that's great. I'm off caffeine, so I couldn't do that. I had my nice sugary juice, so I hope that does it.
But yeah, so I think just to start out, let's talk a little bit about you. If you could give a background, your background a little bit, and then just a little bit about Streo, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, sure. I'm actually I come from professionally. I come from a marketing background, and prior to starting, my own startup, I was working for Mindshare, which is a media company, and we made consumer engagement strategies for many brands. And one of my key accounts was Pepsi, so beverages and foods. Super exciting space. I think I worked there for almost 10 years. And I think professionally, most of my learning came out of that experience in terms of marketing and sales and, engagement with the consumers. And then, personally, I like to do many more things. I love doing yoga and I love playing sport, whether it's basketball or swimming, water polo. These are my key interests. And Streo actually happened by way of you've got a chance to meet Arush, my partner, and I think both of us, we were users first for a product like Streo, and it wasn't there in the market, and that just happened because we wanted access to content that was not available, and hence the transition.
Yeah, and I think what was really interesting was that you started this pre-pandemic. So live streaming became massive, as soon as the pandemic hit. But you had already kind of developed the idea behind it. And can you talk a little bit about just what the mechanics of Streo are? Like, what is it? And yeah.
Yeah. Like you briefly introduced, in the beginning, it is a platform that's built for musicians, for artists to live stream and archive their global events for a global audience who can get unlimited access to events from, Europe, Asia, sitting in one place for a monthly subscription. And this was all pre-pandemic because we want, like, I mentioned earlier that as users, we wanted access to it. And by way of being, we're the kind of people who went to, I mentioned that to you before in our previous chats, who went to events and clubs and asked DJs and bands to burn our CDs. And sitting in one place, we obviously couldn't attend as many events as possible. We wanted access to that content. And so the idea was to kind of, make make this content available for fans, because first we had a fan perspective, and then the idea of, hey, why don't artists monetize their offline events digitally. That came about as a secondary idea. And then because we were engaging with artists and DJs and bands at the time, because we were fans, they gave us a lot of support and insights into how to build this product, how to go about building. So actually the first step was just engaging with people that we followed, we were fans of, and asking them what they think, what's the pain point, would they be interested to um, you know um, uh, multiply their revenue digitally, and not only for an audience in a closed room, those 100, 200 or 500 people, but also have the potential to expand. So this was the idea pre-pandemic. And of course, with pandemic, live streaming, because people couldn't get out, like the whole digital wave became even more predominant, and it emphasized more on the fact that there is a need for creators to put their content out there for a global audience to access. And so it kind of re-emphasized the pandemic for us. Having said that, a lot of platforms we see and come across today are focused just on the live stream aspect of it, and to really make it a global product. Live stream is not somebody sitting in Australia is not tuning into something that's happening in the US at the same time. So archiving becomes, a very important part of the whole business model for it to really be efficient and optimized for everybody in the ecosystem. So that's what we are focused on. We want to build a library. We are building a library. We've live streamed over 5,000 events, and you can access an event that happened a year ago, 2 years ago, from like Lagos or India and Goa.
Yeah. So take us through. So I want to back up just a little bit. So can you take us through kind of a couple of the steps that you took to build this company? So you and your partner had the idea because you were fans of music. You wanted access to more content. You wanted to find the music that the DJs and musicians were playing that you were going to see. So kind of what happens after that, and it sounds like you also talk to a lot of artists of what would they be interested in as well, which I always think is very important when developing, a technology that's focused on, musicians. You should talk to musicians about it. But talk, take us a little bit through the step of building Streo.live, just kind of like coming up with the company name, and then, building the website, and then kind of the growth of it.
Sure. So, just generically speaking, not making it industry specific, I think, like I mentioned, not, first thing is knowledge. So, for us also, I mean, like, because I said we were not musicians, we were fans. So, it was very important for us to understand the industry. So, knowledge is the first thing to acquire, as much knowledge about the ecosystem, about who all are there involved, whether it's copyright owners, labels, agencies, managements, artists, who all are involved and where the industry is today, what are their pain points. So just reading, in platforms like Center for Creative Entrepreneurship, accessing a lot of content and understanding the industry that you're operating in. And then, basis that to kind of narrow down on a vision. So our vision was, okay, in one line, what's that vision? Access this content. And how, and then from that thereon is, if we make this a business, is it viable financially? So first is acquire as much knowledge. Second, set a vision. What is it that you want to achieve? What is the problem that we're solving? Third, is it financially viable for everybody in the ecosystem? Fourth, who are the people who are going to do this? Do you have the skill set to do this? Will you need some other people to do this? And of course, fifth, I think, to understand what is the kind of money that you'll need to build this, whether it's bootstrapping or raising funds, and think about the finances. So I think predominantly in a very generic way, these are the 5 things to something, to think about to begin with. And for us, making it Streo specific, I mean, starting from, definitely, I think a lot of things happened parallelly whilst we were talking to a lot of people, acquiring knowledge, the legal side of things, because when you talk about music, there's a whole copyright leg to it. And it's a very, so it's a, very legally it was very important for us to understand first and see that how is it that we're going to be in the clear, and how is it that it's going to benefit the people who are going to provide the content for the platform. So other than that, then came, of course, the name. And I think just including a lot of people in the process is so important. Just thinking that it's your idea and because you want access, people would want it, is not good enough. So we involved from, I think, the day we started, whether it was friends or family, in the brainstorming of coming up with the name
Hmm.
Trio.live, opening up groups, just making it a very involved process.
Right.
Or to or involving artists and creating groups for artists to understand, okay, what are the tools that they use, the hardwares that they use, the software, what is their monthly spend on each hardware or software, can we integrate that existing solution in our solution as opposed to them buying something over and above. So just, I think, making the process inclusive is
Right.
something that really helped us, whether it was coming up with the name, coming up with the process, or solving an actual problem.
Yeah. And so you started in India to, and built this idea and built the website and started everything. And then you moved to LA. Can you talk a little bit about, because this is the intention behind it, as we've talked about, is this is a global platform. Can you talk about that move, and decision to kind of head to LA and check out, what's happening there and what your plans were?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very good question. I think that's something that I've seen a lot of people struggle, and we in our own minds, have struggled with it, because we get very comfortable and stationed in one place, and we have you have your own your entire setup in a place, and then to make that transition becomes really difficult
Yeah.
with the key factors. But that should not be the reason for someone to decide whether you need to make that move or not. So for us, we looked at it very objectively. The key factors are: one, what is the most relevant market that is going to enhance our efforts? So Los Angeles, by way of being like the media entertainment hub, became like one of the key shortlists for us to operate from. There are, whether it's the artists, we've bumped into, by making that transition, we've literally bumped into agencies and managements, and we've engaged with labels like Universal Music and Capitol Records. Just by making that transition, have got FaceTime with people from the industry who've helped us grow. So that, the key factor is, what is the most relevant market for you to operate out of, because that kind of solves 30 to 40% of your problems.
Hmm.
Access, having access really solves an important problem. And then, of course, secondly is, and just like understanding that sometimes, you're in a place where you hit roadblocks, and that with startups happen a lot.
Right.
And when you hit a roadblock and you see this, something is not working, to be really open and see, okay, will this going to a different market, something is not working because your access is limited. In India is not a very predominant streaming market. Also, United
Hmm.
States is contributes, I think, over 40% towards subscription and streaming subscription. So
Hmm.
whether it was market access or industry access, that both the factors kind of tilted towards making that shift in LA. So I think those are the two factors. If you're hitting a roadblock, think what is it that's going to get you out of that roadblock. If that means transitioning to a place which will give you more, open some more roads for you. And second is, of course, the relevancy of where the ecosystem is, where you're likely to meet more people who will contribute towards the success of what you're building.
Yeah, I think that's a great point too. I mean, obviously you've done your work and knowing where the market is, right? To know that the US has 40% of the live streaming membership model market, that's the place to be if you're going to build that model. Um, and okay, so now let's talk about where you're at right now. So,
Mhm.
what's kind of next for Strio? Where are you guys at? What are some of the next things?
Yeah, I think our key learnings have been that Streo is a creator pro platform, so content will always be our priority. Making a product that benefits people who are providing the content and getting as many people to use the platform. and which kind of makes us take a step back. So next is product. If you've seen, the product is pretty basic right now,
Hmm.
and it does the job. It's a simple interface, and we got a chance to take you through it in last couple of days. But the idea is to for us is to really make it a tech dominant product, which has deep analytics, and which can create more value in terms of predictability for the user, and curation offering the right kind of events to the right audience as per their likes. So integrating a lot of technology, and acquiring the kind of metadata that we are collecting, integrating technology to segregate that metadata and put it to use for different purposes
Right.
within the thing. So technology, product development is our focus. We have a product where the artists can use and live stream. We have a product that fans can log into and access events for a monthly subscription. And now I think here on, it should just continue to grow in terms of experience for the fans and for the artists. And that, I think, is a process that will be there forever. And a lot of our fans and artists who use the product kind of help us build that. Whatever they need, we start thinking on those lines and start integrating, building technology according to that. So
Hmm.
building technology and product will definitely be the focus. And the idea really is today to at a fingertip, like from the most local bar in a city to high profile concert that's happening there, to capture all of it, without with the ease of use. The product should be super easy to use, and should actually be not which should not compromise on the output of the sound and visual in any way, because
Right.
that's what people want. So yeah.
Yeah, that's, and I, when we were going through the product yesterday, um, the features of, location, brands, like teaming up with venues, all of that, is very exciting. And I think it's important, as we were talking about, that when you travel to a new city, a lot of the time you can't find the good music, right? Like you can find the touristy stuff or the touristy clubs, but in terms of the real scene that's happening there, that's not always accessible. And so to have a site where you could actually, hear a live stream from a DJ who's spinning in this place, and kind of connect all the dots with the metadata, I think it would be, is going to be an exciting thing to figure out. And also the look that you guys showed me is looks great. So
Thank you.
congratulations on that.
Thank
Um,
you.
so yeah, I mean, so everyone, I'm gonna put down one more time to check out Streo.live. You can go and see their website. You can become a fan. They have DJs and interesting content from all over the world that is on the website. I think what is going to be an interesting thing to look at for the future is how to monetize for musicians, especially how to monetize their content. There's been a lot of discussion behind the Spotify model, or Apple Music, where musicians just aren't really able to make a living from the streaming. But I think it's kind of the Wild West in a lot of ways, where there's smaller companies like Streo that are coming up that are providing kind of interesting, unique content for fans to listen to, and then for artists to build a fan base, also monetize. And I think it's important that these technologies are created, and that the market is kind of opened up for people. So congrats to you, Pri, and to Arush for building this. And I appreciate you coming on the Global Industry Spotlight today, and it was great meeting you. And we wish you the best, and we'll definitely be in touch and be watching out for what you guys do next.
Thank you so much. I mean, you've given us some previously in our meetings. Also, you've given us some good inputs and feedback, and we appreciate it. Thank you so much for having us here, Daniel. We look forward to some more nice, great chats with you personally.
Absolutely. All right, take care.
All right, bye.
Well, there you have it, everyone. Global Industry Spotlight with Pri from Streo.live. It's a live streaming platform for artists. It's a really interesting concept, and they're really developing the product. They're entrepreneurs, they're creative entrepreneurs in the tech world, in the music tech world. So, definitely check them out. Again, my name is Daniel Crane. I am the program director for the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship. This has been a global industry spotlight. Please check us out at cceglobal.org. You can see all the events that we have coming up. 2022 is looking very exciting. And we definitely have some more guests this month for the Global Industry Spotlight. Wishing everyone a wonderful rest of the day. Take care.